Listen up!
Thank you very much. Terry MacCarthy is going to do the cross-examination demo in the Dodd case of Constable Derrick. Terry MacCarthy has been a Cook County public defender for the last 16 years. And if there's anyone that embodies all the qualities of a wonderful, caring public defender, it's Terry MacCarthy. He's tried everything from misdemeanor work all through capital murder cases. He's tried hundreds of trials. One of the things that I know about Terry from hearing from other Chicago lawyers is that he's incredibly tenacious. He never takes no for an answer, even if it means almost being held in contempt by many judges. The thing about Terry that I appreciate so much is that his generosity of spirit. Like Abe and like many of the other people that here are on faculty, they give so willingly of their time.
Abe said the witness is just a prop. But they do actually have to be in the courtroom. As a police officer, you often rely on your instincts.
Right.
You rely on your instincts in knowing who to trust,
That's right.
knowing who to believe,
Right.
knowing what and whom to rely on.
Correct.
On August 30th, 2003, when you showed up at the hotel, you knew you were investigating a bank robbery.
Answer yes. Correct.
You knew you were investigating a bank robbery
Correct.
by 3 people.
Correct.
You knew you would be the first police officer at the hotel,
Yes.
and as the first police officer at the hotel, you knew you had important responsibilities.
Correct.
You knew you would be in charge of the investigation.
Yes.
You knew that you would make important decisions about the investigation.
Yes, sir.
You knew, of course, that it was important to recover everything that you could,
Right.
because you wanted to know everything that you could about the case.
Yes, sir.
And one of your most important responsibilities was to secure the crime scene.
Correct.
And when I say secure the crime scene, that's sort of a police word, right?
Yes.
And that means really to protect the crime scene from contamination
Yes, sir.
and to preserve the evidence.
Yes, sir.
And you did that by what you would call taping off the scene.
I believe so.
Okay, when I say taping off the scene, for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we're talking about what they've seen on TV where they see that yellow tape placed around the scene of the crime. And you knew it was important to preserve the physical evidence in the case,
Yes, sir.
because physical evidence can be trusted,
Yes, sir.
believed,
Yes.
and relied upon.
Yes.
And before you went to the hotel, you did receive a call,
Correct.
and that call was in a man's voice
Yes, sir.
at 7:45 p.m.
Yes, sir.
about loud noises coming from the guest house suites,
Yes, sir.
specifically from suite 218.
That is correct.
And the call involved 3 people arguing.
That is correct.
After you received the call, you got in your car,
Yes, sir.
drove straight to the hotel
Yes.
without waiting,
Yes.
without even getting a donut.
My hunger too.
I'd like to ask you some questions now about what happened when you got to the guest house motel. You understand?
Yes, sir.
You arrived at 8 o'clock.
That's correct.
You first went to suite 220,
That is correct.
which is a door to the right of suite 218
Yes, sir.
by about 10 feet.
Yes, sir.
You knocked on that door,
Correct.
didn't get an answer.
No.
You then walked to the other side of suite 218,
Yes, sir.
which which was suite 216.
That's correct.
You knocked on that door,
I did.
and you spoke to a man.
Yes, sir.
His name was Angus Bryan.
That is correct.
And you learned, by the way, that Mr. Bryan was the one who had made the initial call.
Yes, sir.
And after speaking to Mr. Bryan, your instinct told you to turn around and to look around.
Yes, sir.
You turned around and looked out into the parking lot
Yes, I did.
of the hotel.
Yes, I did.
And when you looked out into the parking lot of the hotel, you saw a car,
Yes, I did.
a 1985 Buick,
Yes.
light yellow,
Yes, it was.
with Missouri plates,
Yes, sir.
parked immediately in front of suite 218.
Yes, sir.
And your instinct told you at that time that that was the car that had been used in the bank robbery.
Potentially, yeah.
And your instinct was right.
Yes, sir.
Now, after seeing the car in the parking lot, you didn't walk up to the door, up to suite 218 immediately to knock on the door.
No.
Okay, you wisely called for backup.
That's correct.
And you wisely called for backup because you knew that you were dealing with three dangerous people.
Yes, sir.
You thought things might get pretty rough,
Yes, sir.
and you knew that your life was on the line.
Yes, sir.
You waited for about 5 minutes out there
That's correct.
with your life on the line, and then you decided not to wait any longer.
Correct.
And there was a decision you made.
Yes.
By the way, that may have been a mistake.
Potentially.
Well, of course, you had done nothing, and that may have been a mistake.
Potentially, yeah.
And it may have been a mistake because you had certainly done nothing to alert the three people in that room that you were outside.
Correct.
They certainly had no reason to know you were outside.
Yes, sir.
But you, of course, were familiar with the guest house suites,
Yes, sir.
had been there before
Yes, sir.
on several occasions,
Yes, sir.
on several calls.
Yes, sir.
And you knew that the guest house suites not only had front doors, but back doors.
Yes, sir.
You also knew that there was no officer at or covering the back door to suite 218.
Correct.
After waiting 5 minutes, your backup had not showed up, but you felt that you were ready.
Yes, sir.
So without waiting for your backup, you took out your gun,
Yes.
you knocked on the door of the suite,
Correct.
and you stood there in front of the door with your gun,
Yes, sir.
your experience,
Yes, sir.
and your keen instincts.
Yes, sir.
And as you stood there in front of that door, you were standing there with your life on the line.
Correct.
Now, eventually, a woman came and answered that door.
Yes, sir.
That woman is Judy Dodd.
Yes, it was.
And when Ms. Dodd answered the door, you looked her in the eye,
Yes, I did.
and she looked you in the eye. And she looked you in the eye as you stood there with your life on the line.
Yes, sir.
And she looked you in the eye as you stood there with your life on the line,
Okay.
and she told you that she was in San Antonio with her husband,
That's correct.
and she looked you in the eye as you stood there with your life on the line, and she told you that she and her husband were alone.
Yes, that is correct.
And as she told you that, your instinct was telling you to be cautious.
Yes, it was.
You certainly didn't want Judy Dodd to deceive you.
No.
And would it be fair to say that from the first moment you looked Judy Dodd in the eye, you thought that she might be lying to you?
Yes, sir.
As a matter of fact, you know now that Judy Dodd was lying to you.
Yes, that is correct.
And you know now that Judy Dodd was lying to you as you stood there with your life on the line.
Yes, that is correct.
Your instinct was right. Now, as you spoke to Judy Dodd, you looked over her shoulder
Yes.
and you saw the kitchen counter. And on the kitchen counter was about a 6-inch stack of money, about yay high,
Yes, sir.
and your instinct told you that that was money taken in the bank robbery.
Yes, sir.
You certainly knew that was evidence in the case.
Correct.
And by the way, again, your instinct was right. As you stood there at the front door with Judy Dodd, you heard something.
Yes.
You heard two men call out
Yes, sir.
in two different voices,
Yes, sir.
in two distinct voices.
Yes, sir.
Both of them asking, in effect, who was it there at the front door
At the same time.
at the same time in these two different voices,
Yes, sir.
two distinct voices.
Yes, sir.
And by the way, it was when you heard these two distinct voices specifically that you knew that Judy Dodd had lied to you as you stood there with your life on the line.
Yes, sir.
And that led you to question everything else that she would tell you.
Yep.
And by the way, at that point, your instinct was telling you that you knew these were the three robbers in the case.
Correct.
That instinct was right again. Now, because Judy Dodd had stood there and lied to you with your life on the line, you certainly weren't about to trust her.
No, sir.
You certainly weren't about to believe anything she would tell you.
No.
And you certainly weren't going to rely on anything that she said to you.
That's correct.
You knew she was a liar.
Yes.
You knew she was a bank robber.
Yes.
You know now she's a convicted felon.
Yes, I do.
Certainly not a woman you would envision pushing children on a swing set. You, of course, weren't going to take any chances with Judy Dodd. So you took that gun and you pointed it at her.
That's correct.
You ordered her on the ground,
Yes, I did.
face down.
Face down.
And you ordered her on the ground, face down,
Correct.
because you knew you were dealing with some rough people,
That is correct.
and you knew you were dealing with deceitful people.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of deceitful people and rough people, moments later, Larry Wrench came into that room. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And with your life on the line, you weren't about to trust Larry Wrench. With your life on the line, you weren't about to believe anything Larry Wrench told you
No, sir.
or rely on him. As a matter of fact, you weren't even going to give him the chance to lie to you.
No, sir.
He was a big man,
Yes, sir.
a dangerous man.
Yes, sir.
He's a dangerous man. And you ordered him on the ground,
Yes, sir.
immediately
Yes, sir.
cuffed him,
Yes, I did.
and certainly weren't going to take any chances with him.
Correct.
You knew that he was a bank robber.
Correct.
As a matter of fact, you knew he was an armed bank robber.
Yes.
And you know now he's a convicted felon.
Yes, sir.
And while Judy Dodd and Larry Wrench were on the ground, you had them covered with your gun.
Yes, sir.
They were in handcuffs.
Yes, sir.
They had, and by the way, one a bank robber, right? And a convicted felon and a liar.
Yes, sir.
The other, a bank robber, a convicted felon, and a very dangerous man. And as you had them on the ground, your instinct kept telling you that they were dangerous people.
Yes, sir.
And your instinct kept telling you they were not to be trusted.
Yes, sir.
And your instinct was right. As Judy Dodd and Larry Wrench were on the ground, they were in serious trouble.
Pretty much.
As Judy Dodd and Larry Wrench were on the ground, they were in serious trouble. And you knew that they were on their way to a land of concrete walls,
Oh, yes, sir.
metal bars,
Mm-hmm.
tasteless bologna sandwiches,
Not my thing. Yes, sir.
and we won't even go into what they might feel.
Yes, sir.
And as Judy Dodd and Larry Wrench were on the ground, because you had them covered, they had nowhere to go,
Correct.
and they had no way out.
That is correct.
like to ask you some questions now about something else that happened while you were in the front room. You heard the back door open.
Correct.
You heard the back door closing.
Correct.
And again, your instinct told you then that that was the third bank robber leaving the motel.
Yes, sir.
And you, of course, wanted to catch that person.
That is correct.
You, of course, wanted to conduct and did conduct an investigation that could be relied upon.
Yes, sir.
In your investigation, you knew had to be an investigation that could be trusted and believed and relied upon.
Yes, sir.
And to be thorough, a couple minutes later, a couple of deputies arrived.
Yes, they did.
Deputy Parks
Yes, sir.
and Deputy Mendoza.
Yes, sir.
And they helped you to secure the scene.
Yes, they did.
And that would be by placing that yellow tape all around the scene
Correct.
to protect the scene
Yes, sir.
and to preserve physical evidence.
Yes, sir.
And obviously, physical evidence is important, right?
Yes, sir.
And physical evidence is evidence certainly that you don't want to touch
Yes, sir.
or poke or lift. Teaching moment. Not quite theory-based, but almost. I'd like to ask you some questions now about the $15,000 that was recovered from the hotel room.
Yes, sir.
Two officers showed up, again, to help you secure the suite.
Correct.
And Officer Mendoza specifically was the officer that you spoke to about the money.
Yes, sir. Correct.
You told him the money was important.
Yes, I did.
It was important evidence in the case.
Yes, sir.
You told him to handle that money carefully
Yes, sir.
and to carefully put that evidence into an evidence bag.
Yes, sir.
And you stood there and watched as Officer Mendoza put his rubber gloves on,
Yes, sir.
carefully handled that money,
Yes, sir.
and carefully put that money into the evidence bag.
Yes, sir.
And by the way, since August 30th, 2003, you received instructions from the FBI in this case.
Yes, sir.
And those instructions were to keep that money secure.
That is correct.
And to that end, you put it into the constable, your evidence recovery room.
Correct.
And they wanted you to keep that money secure until you finished your investigation and until they could finish their investigation. Now, since August 30th of 2003, you also spoke to FBI agents about some witness statements,
Correct.
about some reports,
Yes, sir.
and and you spoke to the agents about other facts in the case.
Yes, sir.
And in speaking to them, you learned that the three people had checked into this hotel room on Thursday afternoon, Thursday morning rather.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you knew the bank robbery was Friday
Yes,
afternoon,
sir.
and you were showing up at the hotel on Saturday night.
Yes, sir.
So the three people were living there for the better part of 2.5 days.
That's correct.
And I'd like to ask you some questions now, so the ladies and gentlemen of the jury can be clear as to how that motel suite looked when you showed up. Okay, there was a front room.
Yes, sir. When we walk in.
Right when you walk in, there was a front room
Correct.
with a light switch there.
Yes, sir.
There was a table.
Right over there. Yes, sir.
On the table was a couple glasses,
Yes, sir.
cans,
Yes, sir.
and bottles.
Yes, sir.
There was a kitchen,
Yes, we're back.
and the kitchen toward the back had a refrigerator
Yes, it did.
with a handle toward the refrigerator portion,
Yes, sir.
another handle for the freezer portion.
Sure was.
There was a microwave.
Yes.
That microwave had a handle on it.
Yes, it was.
It had a bunch of little buttons you could push.
Yes, it did.
In the kitchen, there was also a garbage can,
Correct.
some utensils,
Yes, sir.
some of which had been used by the people living there, and there was a light switch. And on the kitchen counter, in addition to $15,000, there was also several other things, right?
Oh, right.
Okay, there were a couple cans, bottles,
Yes, sir.
food wrappers,
Yes, sir.
and even some partially eaten food.
Yes, sir.
And there were 2 bedrooms,
Yes.
one bigger than the other.
Yep, with bathroom.
Okay, each with a bathroom, right? One bedroom designed for two people,
Yes, sir.
the other bedroom designed for one person.
Yes, sir.
And there were, and by the way, each bedroom had a desk,
Yes.
and a chair,
Yes, sir.
and a nightstand,
Yes, sir.
and a light switch.
Yes, sir.
And the two bathrooms, there was a bathroom connected to each of the bedrooms.
Right.
And there were two toothbrushes in one,
Yes, sir.
and one in the other.
Yes.
And by the way, in the bathrooms, there were also a light switch in each room. Now, you looked closely, of course, at the rear door to Suite 218.
Yes, sir, I did.
And that was the door that was last touched by that third person running out of the hotel room.
Yes, sir.
And that door was closed only partway.
Yes, sir.
And that door had a handle on the inside, a metal handle,
Yes, sir.
and a metal handle on the outside.
Yes, sir.
You secured this physical evidence in Suite 218 until your evidence technician arrived
Correct.
and until the FBI came.
Correct.
Your visit, of course, was unexpected.
Yes, sir.
You were careful not to alert the people in Suite 218 that you were outside.
Correct.
And would it be fair to say that that third robber ran out in a hurry?
I would have to say so, yes.
No time to gather up his things,
Yes, sir.
no time to clean up anything. In your investigations, you used DNA frequently.
Yeah, I did.
As a matter of fact, you use DNA whenever you can. And DNA is evidence that you trust,
Yes, sir.
evidence that you believe in,
Yes, sir.
and evidence that you rely on.
Yes, sir.
Certainly, you would ask this, the best-looking jury in the world to rely, trust, and believe in DNA evidence. Now, when you secured the scene, you preserved the toothbrushes for the FBI.
At least I did.
And DNA on those toothbrushes would be pretty important to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Yeah.
That would tell us who the third robber was.
Yeah.
It would tell us who stayed in the bedroom with Judy Dodd for 2.5 days.
Yeah.
Mario Dodd's DNA was not on any toothbrush. Mario Dodd's DNA was nowhere in Suite 218.
But I was also not.
You also use fingerprint evidence frequently.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, you use fingerprint evidence whenever you can get it. And just so the ladies and gentlemen of the jury understand, you fingerprint every person that you arrest.
Yes, that's correct.
And when you arrested Mr. Dodd, you fingerprinted him,
Right.
and you did so thoroughly, right?
Yes, sir.
And that is to say, you took prints of the tips of his fingers,
Yes, sir.
the entire lengths of his fingers, as well as his palms.
Yes, sir.
Now, some evidence, as you know, is unbelievable, untrustworthy, and unreliable. Some witnesses, you know, are sometimes unbelievable, untrustworthy, and unreliable. But there's a reason you fingerprinted Mr. Dodd,
Yes, sir.
and that's because you trust fingerprint evidence. Believe in it, you rely on it. Particularly, you use fingerprint evidence to make sure you got the right guy.
Yes, sir.
And you use fingerprint evidence to make sure you got the right guy in a case where some of the other evidence may be unbelievable, untrustworthy, or unreliable.
Yes.
Mr. Dodd's fingerprint was not on any plate in Suite 218, or glass, or bottle, utensil, microwave. Was not on any sink, desk, chair. Certainly was not on any light switch. Mr. Dodd's fingerprint was not on either side of the back door to Suite 218. As a matter of fact, Mr. Dodd's fingerprint was nowhere in Suite 218. And by the way, you didn't find any of Mr. Dodd's personal effects in that suite.
No, sir.
If in fact you learn from speaking to the FBI that one of the three bank robbers counted and divided that money
Yes, sir.
in the back of the getaway car.
Yes, sir.
If the third bank robber touched, counted, and divided that money, certainly their fingerprints would be on that money. Mario Dodd's fingerprints were not on that money. DNA evidence, of course, doesn't lie. Fingerprint evidence, of course, doesn't lie. Your instinct tells you to believe, trust, and rely upon evidence that doesn't lie. With your life on the line, the word of Judy Dodd, Larry Wrench, meant nothing